In 1999, the computers were supposed to shut down the electricity. It was called Y2K. That's when I got first interested in stockpiling items, and I started to become something like a prepper. So we decided we were going to stockpile a lot of food. And some of the food we decided to stockpile were grains and biscuits. We didn't have a computer then, so we didn't know too much about what would happen when we stockpiled all our stuff. There was no problem with the canned food, but I'll tell you what happened when we stockpiled the grains and the biscuits and dog biscuits. We stockpiled cornmeal, white rice, white flour, whole wheat flour, biscuits, all different kinds of biscuits, such as graham crackers, soda crackers, saltines, milk crackers, and we stockpiled dog biscuits. We didn't know anything about oxygen absorbers, which I just found out about recently, or bay leaves or anything like that. Well, within a 6-month period of time, they were stored in their boxes, and they all made worms, and all the boxes had to be thrown away. This also included the dog biscuits, and the dog biscuits will make worms that turn into moths, and they flew all around the house. Another thing that happened with the dog biscuits is that a few years later, when it was warm and humid weather, I had a box of milk-bone dog biscuits, and this has had nothing to do with Y2K. I just kept it for quite a long time, let's say 6 months in humid weather in the summer, and it was a closed box. And when I opened it, the dog biscuits turned green, like a moldy green. So I had to throw those away too. So since that happened, I really don't buy biscuits anymore for myself because I'm hypoglycemic and gluten sensitive. But I still buy cornmeal and flour because I make my own cornbread. And since I'm gluten sensitive, I don't buy any other grains. But what I found out, just on my own experiment, which I found out is the correct thing to do, is to store the cornmeal and the white flour in the freezer, which I have been doing for quite a few years, and I never get any mold or bugs or anything. Now, I don't even eat white rice either, or brown rice. And I noticed that even if they're in the bag and I put them in the cabinet in the kitchen, just for a few months, let's say 2 months, 3 months, they'll get bugs. But since I don't eat them anymore, that's not a problem. Now, I am stockpiling oatmeal. Lots of boxes of oatmeal. They come in cardboard boxes. So what I found out on the internet with my investigations about how to pile oatmeal for a longer period of time, I did find out that in their cardboard boxes, those round containers, that they will last at least 2 to 3 years. So my plan is to just keep them in the boxes and to keep my cornmeal and my white flour in the freezer. However, since the electricity might go down if there's a crisis, I researched what to do. So I found out that the oxygen absorbers are kind of dangerous sometimes, because you have to put them only in very dry food, and if you put them in food that has moisture and close them up, it could cause botulism. So I'm not going to bother with oxygen absorbers. But I also found out just recently that bay leaves will keep the cornmeal and the white flour and the grains from forming bugs. So I'm going to be using bay leaves instead in the cornmeal and the white flour. Regarding my dog's milk-bone dog biscuits, when the weather gets warm and humid, what I do with a box of these biscuits is I keep the box open, and I found out that it doesn't form mold as long as the box is open. I also decided that if I'm going to be storing oatmeal for more than a year, I'm going to take those oatmeal containers, which are in, most of them are in cardboard boxes, and I'm going to put them in food grade 5-gallon buckets and put bay leaves in the 5-gallon buckets. What I'm trying to find out is if I can keep them in their containers, in their cardboard containers, and just put them in the 5-gallon buckets and put the bay leaves in the buckets outside of the oatmeal containers, or if I have to take the oatmeal out of the containers and put them in the 5-gallon buckets. I would really prefer to keep them in their own containers and just put them all in the 5-gallon buckets and close up the buckets, but put bay leaves on the outside of the boxes, but inside the 5-gallon buckets. So I have to still look into that. Since I am hypoglycemic, I don't eat bread except for cornbread, which I've actually put a recipe on YouTube regarding cornbread that's made with very little flour. So I have cornbread that's made for hypoglycemic people and people that are gluten sensitive, because that's how I am. And I have not had a problem with the cornbread. It really is the only type of bread that I eat. So the list of grains that I eat is oatmeal and buckwheat, which is kasha, and cornmeal. That's all. Now, I also buckwheat, in my opinion, is way better than rice, and that's because it has a lot. It has a lot of protein, and it's a lot tastier. So regarding the storage of buckwheat, I don't eat that much of it. I might have just a few boxes. I will probably put that in the 5-gallon container. And well, right now I have purchased it in plastic bags. So I'll put I'll open up those bags, and I'll put bay leaves inside the bags, and then I'll put them in 5-gallon containers.